Alright, so in this video, I wanted to go over the Tower of Elements upgrades number 61 through 70 for the special element in the Tower of Elements. So these are the new ones that just got unlocked with the most recent update. So for upgrade number 61, you're going to get an attack upgrade. Then we're going to have extra damage resistance, and I talk about that stat. This is a new one that you can actually see from the talent page now, which is nice. It's always been in effect, but now you can actually see it, and it does give a just description in that talent page how that calculation works. Then we have an HP upgrade, and then this is where these two branches really start off. And really the right branch is going to be the one to go here, because if you look at the left branch, you do get HP, attack, and HP, but then your two other upgrades are going to be splash damage multiplier and range damage multiplier. Neither of these are super great, so you will ideally want to go to this right side. And then once again, looking at this right side after you get an attack upgrade, on the right side again, we have the attack, extra damage resistance, and critical multiplier. Where on this left side, we have HP, then splash damage multiplier and range damage multiplier. HP and attack are pretty well interchangeable, just depending on what your slime needs. One's not necessarily better than the other, but just having this extra damage resistance and critical multiplier will be a lot more helpful than a splash damage multiplier especially. And then range damage multiplier just when comparing to the critical multiplier. And then we have two more attack upgrades before it converges. And then we get to this three-way branch. And now these are the three new kind of milestone upgrades you can get. On the far left side, we have Expose Weakness. Enemies take an additional 40% damage for 3 seconds after being attacked by slimes. So really, after the first hit your slime does, every subsequent hit for the next 3 seconds, that enemy will just receive 40% more damage. So this is really nice just because it is really a just overall buff to your damage. Of course, only really helping if you're not one-shotting everything. So if you're one-shotting everything, you're not going to get a lot of benefit. But especially on those later waves, when you start dealing with tougher enemies, stuff that you can't instantly kill, and it's going to be taking 3, 4, 5 hits even on bosses. So this Exposed Weakness really just does help overall. Kind of the recommended one to go for, just because it can debuff those enemies and just help your overall damage output. On the middle one, we have Defy Death. This is probably the next best one. So when taking damage that would kill you, there's a 66% chance to survive with 1 HP after the damage calculation. And so there's a 2/3 chance that when you should have died, you'll live and still end up with 1 HP. Now, this might not seem a lot, but with how much damage you're dealing or healing with lifesteal and regeneration, you can heal out of it. But overall, this kind of just ends up being pretty sporadic and not super helpful. So really, in general, I would recommend the Exposed Weakness because it's just going to help your overall damage output, where Defy Death can be very inconsistent. And for really you to get any benefit out of it, you have to be almost dying anyways. So, I mean, it can be one that can be kind of helpful if you're really mostly consistently beating a stage and you just need some. That Defy Death can be helpful because if every once in a while you die and you just want to be continually, consistently being able to farm a stage, it can be helpful. But as far as trying to push for the latest stage and, try and push as far as you can, I would just go with Exposed Weakness. This far right one, Ultimate Knockback, there's 25% chance to ignore enemy status resistance when triggering a knockback. Really, you shouldn't care about this one too much. Knockback isn't something you really should prioritize. In general, I go for Exposed Weakness. But thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.